I was just about to say the Ides of April, but it's the Ides of March.
What does that mean? I've never heard that saying before.
Yes, you have. It's from Julius Caesar. It's when Brutus kills Caesar in the Ides of March.
And then Brutus killed Caesar! What movie is that from?
Mean Girls.
Yeah. That's all I got. Duh.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Good Vibes FC. I'm Sam Mewis, coming to you from the Women's Game World Headquarters in Vermont.
And I'm Lynn Biandello, coming to you from the hindquarters in Seattle.
Good Vibes FC is presented by our great friends over at Olipop. Today on the podcast, we are going to dive deep into the U.S. Women's National Team's 2-0 win over Brazil on Saturday and look ahead to their second matchup tomorrow night. We'll also discuss the 2031 World Cup potentially coming to the U.S. and what it says about the state of soccer in this country. And then we'll go to the inbox for a question about Formula One and extreme sports. Also, quick reminder to please subscribe to the Women's Game on YouTube. It helps us so much, and we'll be doing a TWG Live with Angel City defender Allie Riley on Tuesday after the second USA versus Brazil match. So please be sure that you are subscribed so that you don't miss that. Lynn, I'm so excited to be here with you. We're a day early this week. It's good vibes all week due to the national team schedule. How are you doing?
I'm good. First of all, I'm very excited for the Formula One question because I have been watching that series on Netflix. And I'm good. It's a little rainy here in good old Seattle, but it was beautiful yesterday. I went and saw the cherry blossoms.
Oh my gosh.
Have you ever done that?
I mean, I know that they're famous in like DC, but I didn't know that they were famous in Seattle.
Neither did I. Apparently, I read this on Wikipedia, so take this with a grain of salt, but Japan gifted the University of Washington like 9 cherry blossom trees. And so we went and saw them. Japan, the nation? What? Yeah,
Japan,
I don't know.
Like the nation of Japan gave the University of Washington cherry blossom trees?
I told you I read it on Wikipedia, okay? But, yeah.
That is incredible. I wonder why.
Peace.
For peace.
For peace. I don't really know if that's correct, but they're beautiful nonetheless. And we were there, me and Marley, and it was just beautiful. And there was like 1 million people there taking pictures. We got stuck in traffic for like an hour and a half, but it was a lovely day.
Well, that sounds absolutely lovely. Did you guys smooch under the cherry blossom trees?
No, we did not.
Oh,
no, but we hugged. We did a little hug and took some pictures.
That's so nice. Did you do like a fit check video?
No, we should have. There was like so many people that somebody would have stole the camera if we set it down or it got squashed. There was like 1 million people there. Yeah, we did that, and then we went and got some tacos last night. So that was like a great day.
Tacos.
What's up with you?
I did want to report to all who care that I saw all of your notes about the Cuban Missile Crisis thing. I am going to watch the movie that, depicts what happened. I think it's called like 13 Days. I'm going to watch it. And also, Lynn, last week, I admitted that I have been living under a rock when it comes to my skincare. And so I ordered some nice skincare from Goop.
Oh, what'd you get?
It's Gwyneth Paltrow's mini face care skincare set of 4 items.
What are the items?
I've only used it once, but it's like a
hyaluronic
jelly cleanser.
Acid. Okay.
A jelly cleanser, a peptide situation cream,
okay.
A glow exfoliator, and a
moisturizer.
Probably some sort of a cream, a hydration-based cream. A cream-based hydration.
Did you use all 4 steps or?
No, I only have washed my face so far because I put makeup on for the altcast and I had to get it off. And I think I used the peptides.
You are so lucky that you have like nice skin. Like that you don't break out.
I know, but I've been so dry. My skin's been so dry.
Yeah, put some moisturizer
that was
on.
The issue. Well, I'm gonna.
Drink some water.
Lynn.
I'm so happy for you. That makes me really happy. Now we just have to use it.
I will. I'm going to use it. It was a big investment, so I like literally have to use it.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to hear about the results and see them.
I'm pretty excited. I learned a lot. I admitted that I was doing some things a little bit wrong, a little bit ignorantly out here, and I'm going to fix it.
Great. Way to take accountability, change, growth. It's all growth. Growth mindset here.
Thank you for supporting me. All right, well, let's get into the national team. We all watched the U.S. Women's National Team beat Brazil 2-0 on Saturday at SoFi Stadium in L.A., and this was actually the first women's professional sporting event at SoFi Stadium, which is going to be a host venue for the Men's World Cup next summer. 32,303 people were in attendance, which created what seemed like an incredible atmosphere for what would end up being a very physical and fast-paced game. Trinity Rodman scored early with a great goal. She made like a central run onto a beautiful slip pass from Alyssa Thompson. And then in the second half, Lindsay Heaps scored a PK. That was earned by substitute 17-year-old Lily Johannes. That sealed the win for the U.S. Lynn, you joined Raj and I on our Altcast, which was on True TV and Max during the game, where we commentated, goofed around. We chatted with guests Uzo Aduba and Lola Bonta. No big deal. Lynn, what did you make of the SpongeBob Super Bowl, a.k.a. the Altcast?
I loved it. I thought it was so fun. I would do that every game if I could. Well, I'd like to think I would be there. But if I'm not, I would love to do that. I thought it was so fun. It's like you got to watch with your friends and then also talk to your other millions of friends that you haven't ever met.
I know.
What'd you think? Did you have fun?
Yeah, I had fun. I thought it was so cool that we had Uzo Aduba on. She's incredible. She's an investor in Angel City and obviously an incredible actor in shows that we all know and love and watch. And so I really enjoyed chatting with her. It was fun to catch up with Lola Bonta and have her on. She just got a new dog, so we really loved that. And then, you know what, Lynn, you just really came in with the energy for the second half, and I was so glad you were there. I felt right at home when you got on.
Oh my goodness. Give me more compliments.
I know. It was crazy though. This is like my normal setup, and like I had a lot of extra equipment for like the TV studio vibe.
I know. You guys had the headphones with the little, like, you had your, like, Britney moment. Did you feel like Britney Spears?
No, I felt like Lizzie McGuire in the Lizzie McGuire movie. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Hey now.
No, I would agree with that. That's more accurate. But it looked fun. It looked like you guys were having a good time. I loved it. Like I said, 3 times already. But I think that, like, sometimes when you watch the game, you just watch for like enjoyment, and then there's a different way to watch, which is like not critiquing, but like seeing patterns.
To watch to commentate,
To watch to commentate,
yeah.
Being able to like sit and hear other people's ideas, I like love doing that. Anytime me and Sonnet are on the bench together, we're always like talking about like, okay, what formation are they in? What shape are they in? What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? And I just really enjoyed that because sometimes, like I said, you're just watching, and you're like, oh, cool, we scored a goal, but you don't actually think about like what the lead up was. So to get on and be able to do that was thrilling.
I completely agree. That's why I love having people like you come on those and really, tell us what you're thinking while we're watching. And it's kind of always elevating the way I'm thinking about the game. So I kind of want to do that again right now. I want to start by talking about the pace of this game and the press from Brazil. The commentators on the regular old broadcast, the mainstream broadcast, they said early on in the game that the U.S. usually completes 6 to 8 passes in their attack. Like the average number of passes per possession is like 6 to 8. But against Brazil, that number is only 2 to 3 passes. And that felt true in this game. It felt like it was kind of this constant transition, open game, lots of turnovers. And I just want to say, like, it's so difficult to keep possession when Brazil was pressing us so high because you're either playing your teammate under pressure, which doesn't seem like a good option. You have to maybe solve it yourself by, like, beating somebody one-on-one, or you're forced to go long and potentially lose possession. So luckily for the U.S., even though we got put under such pressure from Brazil, we're like fitter than most other countries, so we can play at that kind of pace for longer. But Lynn, and I think that's what happened in this game. Like in the second half, I think that we kind of took control because we were able to play at that pace the whole game, where Brazil kind of started losing that edge a little bit. I want to hear about how you would think about breaking a press with this national team, and how, when it was a little bit chaotic in the first half, how to like regain some composure and control over the game when you're so under the gun.
First and foremost, like the first couple of possessions that you have to feel out what they're doing and what their formation is. Because obviously you're training all week, and this camp is a short camp, but you're training all week and you're training all year to do things that we want to do. But they might come out differently. So your first couple of times you're like, okay, what are they actually doing? And then once you've figured that out, like you have to match their pace with your movement as well. So if somebody is sprinting at somebody, you need to like give the angle at that same pace as they're sprinting. You know what I mean?
So like if Crystal Dunn has the ball at outside back and a Brazilian player is sprinting at her, then you as the forward needs to sprint to the angle at the same pace as the Brazilian defender.
Correct. Under control, obviously. Like you need to sprint there and then be able to compose yourself to be able to receive the ball. And so if we're not moving at the same pace that they're moving, there's just no options. Like hopefully the person on the ball can break the pressure by themselves, but that obviously isn't the ideal, but that's why they're all amazing because they can do that as well. So I think that's first is like figure out what's going on. And then second, like we need to be moving at the same pace that they're moving and then play around with it. Or if they're coming high, does that mean we need to bring our sixes low and then we bypass them and there's like a bigger space between our forwards and our midfielders? Or do we keep them higher and then like move into that space? Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that it's hard because at times it can feel like it's quick turnover after quick turnover. And I think that can almost feel like demoralizing a little bit. But you and I were saying this on the Altcast. At a certain point, it's like, yeah, you can try to swing the ball a few times around the back. But if you're just constantly getting barraged with pressure and like losing it, there comes a point in the game where you have to just go, we have to withstand the pressure. It's hot out here. We gotta match their energy. We've got to match their press, match their intensity in the moments of transition. And I think that the US is like so uniquely capable of doing that for a long time. Whereas other teams would get disheartened by feeling under so much pressure. And they'd say, we're under too much pressure. We can't keep it. And that's our style and that's our identity and that's who we are. The US is just so versatile that they can go, all right, if you're not going to let us keep it, we're going to transition to, and we're, you know what, we're great at that.
Yeah, well, what's so exciting about the US is that if anybody were to come to a training and see us play like 11v11 or like a small-sided, it's pure mayhem because both teams are pressing so high. Like both teams are running around crazy. So you're facing that every day in training. Obviously, it might look a little bit different. You're like playing a little bit of different opponents. But it's just like mayhem. So if you can get comfortable with that in training, of course, when you go into a game, to be able to withstand that pressure, you've just trained yourself to do that.
Exactly. And I think that it's like Brazil can do that for maybe 60 minutes. Another team could do that for maybe half the game. But the US trains like that. So you're almost playing into their hands in a way, being like, we're going to make this game chaotic. We're going to make this game fast. The US is like, all right, like we're probably going to be able to do that better than you. The other thing that Brazil did was they made this game really physical. I think from literally, there was a foul like 20 seconds into the game. And I think that every time, you know, the U.S. would kind of get some momentum, like it was just foul after foul after foul, 33 fouls, 7 yellow cards. This was definitely intentional by Brazil and meant to kind of disrupt our play and our sense of control. But I think what I really want our listeners to hear about is what a game like this, 33 fouls, feels like on the body. Like, how do you think the girls are feeling waking up?
Yeah, I think a couple of them are probably waking up sore.
Yeah.
Really sore. First of all, when a game like isn't physical and it's like really fast, you're already feeling sore and tired because you're like, I would love to know like their high speed numbers and I would love to know like how many Ks everybody ran. Oh my gosh, you know what?
Break that down a little bit. Their high speed numbers meaning
high speed numbers are like how fast you went or like how quickly you got to a location on the field. And sometimes like if somebody can have like 1,000 high speed meters, that's like a crazy amount of high speed running. So I would think like,
and it's all tracked by everybody's GPS unit that they wear on their back.
Yeah, everybody has. So we know how many Ks everybody's ran. So I'm assuming that some of these players ran like 12, 13 K.
Yeah, and by K, I think we mean kilometer.
Correct.
Okay, thanks. I was just checking.
And so even if it wasn't physical, just that amount of like running, you're going to be sore. So then add the physicality on top of that. Like I'm assuming people have bruises. I'm assuming people are like, oh my gosh, I feel like I got hit by a truck this morning. And
I bet there's like some whiplash out there.
And then I think they traveled last night as well. So then you're like adding travel, plane, lack of sleep on top of that. They're going to need some recovery today. Do you remember when we only had 3 subs?
Yeah. Pre-COVID,
when there was only 3 subs. and that you just had to be fit because you couldn't get subbed. Like, I forget those times, and it was crazy. But now, like, when you have 5 subs, 2 more people, it's a huge deal. But I also just think, like, when people see 5, like, you see Lily getting up to come on, Michele Cooper getting up, Brazil probably is like, holy crap, now we have to defend these fresh-legged, fast people.
Yeah, I know, actually. Which, again, it's a strength of the U.S. having depth like that, who's going to come in and not just keep the level where it is, but potentially raise it. It's just this strength of this team and this program that makes us really difficult to compete with. I want to talk about who specifically did well. Alyssa Thompson had a really great game. She looked dangerous herself with a few really close chances. I wanted her to score so bad because she's from LA. This game was in LA. I think the stadium would have absolutely erupted. She was also setting her teammates up for chances. She is the one who played Trinity Rodman, that really perfectly timed pass. And I think what I am liking so much about her is her versatility in that 7-11 or like winger position. When she's out wide, she's able to set herself up for 1v1s and cross the ball, but she's also able to come centrally into the pocket, which is that bit of space that's more central in front of the opposition's back line. That's where we saw her turn and drive with the ball on that goal from Trinity. Mal is really good at this too. It's something that just adds versatility and creativity, I think, to the attack, because it allows for movement from the outside back, from the 9, from the midfielders to be a little bit more like fluid in there and creative.
I agree. Yeah, that pocket of space when you're like moving around just causes confusion with their defense of like, who am I supposed to pick up? I thought my mark was wide. Now she's inside. Is that me? Is that somebody else? And I thought that she did that really well. I just think that Alyssa's growth from the time that she first got on the national team to now, and just like her ability to grow on the field, but I also think like off the field, like mentally, and just her confidence has been really exciting to see. She obviously was kind of like thrown onto the team and went to the World Cup, and I think that
in 2023 she replaced Mal, who was injured right before the World Cup.
Correct.
And she was just kind of thrown in there.
She's kind of thrown in there, and then we go to that World Cup. It's obviously not the World Cup of our dreams, and I think as I believe she was 18 at the time, a young 18-year-old, you're trying to navigate this space that you've dreamt of being at your whole life, but it doesn't necessarily go well. It can like take a whole toll on your mental, and I think that's like a huge part of the game that we don't speak about a lot. So it looks like Alyssa was able to go away, and I think I've heard her talk about how like Kristen Press has been like a mentor to her and talks to her about her confidence and her abilities and kind of like helping her become this like superstar player that we are now seeing her become. And so I think that now and in last game, we're finally seeing that. Like we've seen it a couple of times in the NWSL, but to be able to translate that to the national team is just really exciting. So I think her growth is untouchable. Her ceiling's really high, and I wanted her to score so bad yesterday.
I know. It would have been so sick. Well, speaking of players who are doing really, really well, I wanted to pause here for our supporters section segment where we see what the fans are talking about. Who did the fans think is doing really well? And if there's anything that the fans are saying about this game, it's that we all love Phallon Tullis-Joyce in goal for the U.S. Women's National Team. Phallon made 6 saves in this game, and she really had such a presence back there. She stepped up big whenever she had to. First cap, first shutout. So supporter section, here's what you all had to say. Alpine Addiction said, "This is the most fun goalkeeper game that I've seen since the legend Alyssa Nair saved PKs and made one of her own." Lexi Scarina said, "We went from Alyssa Nair immediately to Phallon Tullis-Joyce. This is the greed spoken about in the Bible." Thought that one was really funny, Lexi. Belly Lint, shout out Belly Lint, said, "I've seen enough. PTJ is baby uncle. The torch has been passed." And then journalist Jeff Kassouf reported, Phallon Tullis-Joyce said the biggest moment of the day was the opening whistle to get the nerves out. She learned she would start earlier this week, but didn't tell her family who's in the stands. They found out with the rest of the world on social media.
Oh my gosh. If I did that to my mother, she would be so upset with me.
I know. Can you imagine? I mean, I wanted to like set the stage a little bit. 32,000 people in this humongous stadium in LA against the rematch of the gold medal match at the Olympics last summer. Like, this was a huge game. This was a huge moment to get your first cap, to get a shutout. How did you see Phallon like playing out there?
I thought she looked great. I thought she again, made huge saves. Looked like she settled in really nicely. She didn't look nervous at all, at least from my point of view. I thought she did great.
Me too. So did all of our fans. I swear, every comment I read on social media was about Phallon. Everybody's calling her PTJ, which I love. It's like such a great run of initials for a long name. I was psyched for her. I think this is really cool, and I think that this is an area of the team that is going to continue to be talked about as we wait and see who Emma kind of taps to be the hopeful replacement for Alyssa, who retired from the national team at the end of last year. But Phallon made a case for herself, for sure. I think that she did great, and I was like really excited to watch her play.
Me too. I think that we saw this last turnover with hope too, when it was like, who's going to be the next keeper, who's going to be the next number one. I obviously think that Phallon had a great game. I'm not saying that means she's never going to make a mistake. So she's so young still and still very inexperienced, but I do think she did make a strong case for herself. I also think that this is like the perfect time to put her in a game like that as well, because we're so far away from the next world tournament, but also you have to see if she can do it under pressure like that. And I don't know how you can like recreate pressure like we had yesterday.
Yeah.
Or whatever day this comes out, sorry.
Yeah, on Saturday.
On Saturday, except throwing her in a 32,000 rematch of the gold medal match.
I know.
At SoFi. So I honestly think that she handled that pressure at that moment great. And I'm sure her family was like, Phallon, why didn't you tell us this? But like maybe she didn't want to have to like manage her family's emotions too.
I know.
She's like already managing her own. I don't know.
That's
so exciting.
I know. It was really cool. Well, Lynn, looking ahead to Tuesday, we're facing Brazil again. What changes do you think we'll see from the U.S., and what do we need to look out for from Brazil?
Ooh, well, speaking again about the keeper position, I do think we're probably going to see like a change in net. Just again, it's one of those moments where you're going to have to, there is a position up for grabs. I think we're going to see another physical game. I don't think that that's ever going to change. But I would be interested to see how we go about breaking their first line of pressure. So like we said, this past game, it was a very high pressing team. Interested to see if Brazil is going to come out and high press again. And if they do, does that change how we break that first line of defense and our ability to then turn and go forward? It's almost like transitioning their transition.
Yeah.
So when they're so disorganized and kind of coming out all fast.
Guns a-blazing.
Can we transition that bit of transition for them? So when they're disorganized, can we get organized to set ourselves up? So I'm interested to see that.
Yeah, I think on top of that, it's like the game, when it's so transitional, it's so open. And so there's all this space in the midfield. And I think something that I was noticing, particularly in the first half, that Brazil was doing a little bit better than us, was winning those second balls in the midfield. And again, it's just like, in order to take advantage of a team being stretched, being open, being a little bit disorganized, you have to win that second ball and start your attack from there for either team. So when Brazil was doing it, they were able to create some chances from our openness and our space and the result of our own attack. So I think just that it's that little bit of extra organization in the midfield. You're where are you positioning yourself early when the ball's in the air, when it's traveling? It's a basketball term. Are you boxing out the person that's near you so that you're going to get to the ball first? I think that's something that we can work on a little bit in this next game coming up on Tuesday. So it's time now for our Olipop gut check of the week, which I'm so excited about because I'm trying watermelon lime today, Lynn. I've never had this before in my life.
Me either. I didn't even know that existed. I'm doing my favorite tropical punch.
Okay, well, let's cheers. Tink.
Cheers. Tink.
Oh my God, it's like a watermelon. Oh my God. It's like a watermelon Jolly Rancher.
For real? I love tropical punch.
Wow. I'm distracted by how good that is.
Okay, well, that will be my next one when I get my hands on it.
Back to our Olipop gut check of the week, everybody. After pausing to talk about how good our Olipops are, the U.S. Women's National Team made some substitutions starting around the 60th minute, and we saw Lily Johannes, Michelle Cooper, Yasmin Ryan, Avery Patterson, Jaden Shaw, and Ashley Hatch all sub into the game. And all of them kept the standard really high for the remainder of the game. So, Lynn, our Olipop gut check is, which U.S. women's national team substitute were you most impressed by?
I said this on the Allcast, and I'm going to say it again here. I think Lily has impressed me from day one. Again, she's so young, but her ability in a game that is so hectic, fast-paced, physical, to be able to go in there and stay calm. I thought she had so many great through balls and balls that like broke their back line, turned them around, and then obviously she drew the PK. So I felt like she had like an instant impact on the game. So for me, Lily is she wins an Olipop.
Lily, congratulations! You've won an Olipop.
You can collect it at your local store.
I completely agree, Lynn. I think that Lily was the most impactful sub. I thought Michele Cooper did really well also, and most of the other girls didn't get quite as much time, but I did want to give a special shout out to Avery Patterson, who got her first cap.
Oh my gosh, yes. Did you see the clip that it was like right before she was about to sub on, and Emma said, "What would you be telling your 10-year-old self?" And she said, "Have fun." And Emma was like, "Exactly." And it was just such a wholesome, cute moment.
I feel like Emma is like so good at moments like that.
I know. She's just like, go have some fun. Get out there, girlfriend.
I think that she's just like, you're a human first. Like, yes, this is a big game, and yes, it's important, and yes, you're nervous, but like, you're also just a person, so just go out there and have fun.
I know. I think that that's what makes Emma great too. Is because she does see the human side of everything. That like,
totally.
All of this is like super important. We kind of dedicate our whole lives to it. But first and foremost, you're a human being. So let's like treat you like a human being.
That was our Olipop gut check of the week. Let us know in the comments which substitute you think had the best game on Saturday. We'll be back for a TWG Live tomorrow night after USA versus Brazil, which is at 10:30 p.m. So it's going to be another late one. The live's probably going to start around 12:30 a.m. on the East Coast. I'm ready. Allie Riley's joining us. So please come and be with us so that we're not all alone so late at night. We need to take a quick break right now, but don't go anywhere because we'll be talking about the U.S. World Cup bid when we get back. Welcome back, everyone. Last week, FIFA President Gianni Infantino announced that FIFA has received one bid for the 2031 Women's World Cup, which is from the U.S., and one valid bid for the 2035 Women's World Cup, which is from the U.K. So while not officially confirmed, both hosts, the U.S. and the U.K., seem poised to win those bids, which means, Lynn, that the U.S. is probably going to host the Women's World Cup in 2031. How fun is that?
That's so fun, so exciting. I will be attending as a viewer.
Oh my gosh, I know. I was going to say, like, where do you think we'll be in 2031?
How old will we be?
6 years from now. I'll be 38.
Yikes.
And I guess you'll be 37?
Yeah, or I would have just turned 38. Whatever. I will be icing my back and watching and cheering on the good old US of A.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's going to be
Oh my gosh, we should start planning now.
Yeah, we should. We should do like a reunion with like all of our friends and like go.
That'd be so fun. Let's do it now.
Okay, that's on the books. The U.S. is likely going to be joined in their hosting duties by other CONCACAF hosts once FIFA declares how many teams will participate in the tournament. Next summer, the U.S. is hosting the Men's World Cup in conjunction with Mexico and Canada, so it's feasible to me, at least, that there would be a similar arrangement in 2031. I am particularly excited about some of the 2026 Men's World Cup host cities like Boston and Kansas City, and I really hope that I get to go to some games. I've never been to a Men's World Cup game.
Me either.
I know. Isn't that kind of like weird?
Well, yes and no. We're usually playing the soccer. Yeah. So it's like it's a tough time. But
yeah, but not as like a child. Like I've never even been as a child. But I guess it's like, yeah, that probably would have been expensive.
Yeah, your parents were like, no, we've put you through soccer and we're driving you around everywhere and taking you to tournaments. Like we're not going to this.
I know. Are there any host cities that you're particularly excited about?
Well, they're coming to Seattle as well. So sick. I hopefully can go to those games.
Yeah.
The Bay Area as well, which is like the closest place to where I grew up and where my family lives. So that's going to be exciting. And I think that that stadium is just amazing. Marley always talks about the very long bar. And I want to go watch the Men's World Cup at the long bar. That's all I'm saying. So I'm excited about that.
That sounds literally incredible. Count me in. But I guess this is next year.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for my schedule, except if it's in Seattle. And it is. So maybe you can take a trip to Seattle and we can go to that game.
That sounds good. The long bar might have to wait. Well, the news of the host countries was accompanied by an announcement from Washington Spirit owner Michele Kang. Michele Kang also owns Lyon and the London City Lionesses, all part of Kaniska, her organization advancing research and development of women's soccer. So Kaniska has an arm called the Kaniska Innovation Hub, and here's the announcement. Kaniska Innovation Hub is now being integrated into U.S. Soccer's Soccer Forward Foundation. Michele Kang is donating an additional $25 million on top of her previously announced donation of $30 million, making the total $55 million donation to U.S. Soccer to further advance women's football. And I do think that investors like Michele Kang taking steps like this to grow the game and honestly focus on making the game better for women and the actual athletes playing is only the beginning of what the U.S. hosting this World Cup could do for women's soccer. It's just such a catalyst for the potential for positive change and growth.
Speechless. I'm speechless with everything that she's doing. It's like incredible. I'm really excited and also like grateful that she has decided that she wants to better women's sports and women's soccer specifically.
I know. It's so cool. I think that her commitment to making women's soccer more professional, to advancing it, and again, seriously, to being like, these players need more research into their bodies, into all of the things that contribute to some of the disadvantages that women's soccer players are facing, like the injuries, the field surfaces, the development of like the youth programs. I think that Michele Kang is investing in all of that, and it's like literally finally somebody sees this as something worth investing in.
I know, and I think it's exciting as well that it's coming from a woman, because she has probably in her own field felt all of these things appreciated under whatever. Like, I'm assuming it took her a lot as well to get to where she's at. And she's had to fight through all of these, like, what are they called?
Obstacles. It's
obstacles.
Like, you know that metaphor they talk about how, like, if you're climbing a ladder, but then you, like, turn and you, like, help the people behind you also climb the ladder?
Yeah.
Like, that's what she's doing.
I know. It's incredible. I would love to, like, just sit down and have a nice dinner chat with her just to, like, pick her brain about a plethora of things.
I would too. I think she's really, really incredible, and we're very lucky that she's so invested in this space. Okay, Lynn, so The Guardian had an interesting article detailing how, while the US and the UK certainly deserve to host the tournaments due to them being two of the countries like really leading investments in women's soccer, these are also two of the countries that like don't really need the benefits of hosting this tournament. Both countries already have successful domestic leagues. They'll obviously both put on successful, fun, professional tournaments for players and fans alike. The venues will be great. But as this article that I'm referencing, written by Tom Gary, puts it, for nobody else to fancy a crack at it, not even to make a valid bid, what a shame and what a poor indictment of the passion levels for women's football within the federations and governments of all other eligible hosts, with the exceptions of South America, where the tournament is heading with great anticipation in 2027 to Brazil, and Australia and New Zealand, who put on a memorable show in 2023. So I think what Tom is saying here is, yes, the US and the UK deserve to host, but they don't really need the benefits. And is it kind of a shame that nobody else was able to or interested in putting forth a valid bid?
It's a shame, but I think it's more complex and complicated than that. I think there's like a lot of pros and cons to hosting a world event. I do think that like being at the World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, it was so exciting. And you look the aftermath of that, of now Australia, I can't remember exactly the number, but they vowed to like spend X amount of dollars on developing soccer fields specific for just soccer and putting back to their women's programs. But I think on like the flip side of that, you can have like a downfall of aftermath as well. Like it's a lot of money and a lot of infrastructure that you have to build and a lot of security and police, and there's just so much that goes into that. And I think that there are some federations that aren't even pouring money and putting money into their national teams, which is wrong in my opinion. But are those countries able to put on a successful tournament that's going to be and do the players justice? Like, I don't know. I think it is more complicated than just saying, what a shame.
Yeah, I think that you're absolutely right. We all want the tournament to be successful. And I think that we all feel confident that the US and the UK can pull that off. And to your point, Lynn, there are pros and cons and nuance to hosting a huge global event, as we've seen with Olympics host cities and countries over the years, as we saw with the Men's World Cup in Qatar. So I think that we're kind of, reacting to this in our own kind of nuanced way. I want to celebrate that the U.S. is getting the World Cup. I would love to jump up and down about it. But it's also coming at a complicated time, not just in like women's football and the development of the women's game, but here in America. The current administration has put up roadblocks that we're seeing directly affect everybody, but also directly our sport and the athletes participating. Canadian Vanessa Gilles, Angel City defender on loan to Lyon in France right now, recently said, "I don't see myself going back to the United States with the current geopolitical situation. It's a bit complicated to go back there as a Canadian." While her Canada teammate Quinn recently said of their move from the NWSL to the Northern Super League in Canada, "I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about it. That definitely crossed my mind and played an aspect in understanding about what's happening in the US." So I think that it's not as simple as celebrating that we got the bid. There is so much to consider with the growth of the game globally, with what's going on here in our own country. And this is a really nuanced and difficult, moment.
Yeah. I think that obviously it's like exciting to think about being able to play on your home field, home turf for a World Cup or any major event. Like, I think about the Olympics, like it's very exciting in that sense. But I think, and we hit on this like earlier in the show with Emma saying that like we are people first. And I think that when you are trying to decide like your life and what you're doing, of course we're soccer players, but we're humans first and foremost. And I mean, I felt this a bit too. And I'm from the United States, born and raised. When I was going through my trade, I had the opportunity to potentially play in Houston. And when I was thinking about that, I was like, do I want to go to Texas where like abortion rights have been taken from women? What's the next thing that they're going to do there? Like, I'm obviously Black, like racism, like all these things that are just what ifs and I don't know. And I have to put that first. I'm a human being before I'm a soccer player. So for somebody who is Canadian and with our current administration and our current political climate in this country, of course they're going to think about that. And Quinn, who is a trans non-binary athlete, that's another thing they have to think about. So I don't know. It's just a interesting time for our sport. So like you said, it's exciting. I think it's great that people will get to play in front of their families. Or obviously this isn't like confirmed, but get to play in front of their families. But at the same time, it's so much bigger than that. And I think that that's what people have to remember right now.
It's so much bigger than that, Lynn. And I'm so grateful that you shared all that. And I want to add that additionally, last week, the Zambian Football Federation announced that they would remove their 4 U.S.-based players from their squad for their upcoming games due to concerns over the Trump administration's immigration policy. So the Orlando Pride players, Barbara Banda, Priska Chilufya, and Grace Chanda, along with Bay FC's Rachel Kundananji, are missing their national team games this week. And I feel like that news out of Zambia was very much up against this exciting news of the 2031 Women's World Cup bid. And it kind of feels like this weird foreshadowing for even the Men's World Cup next summer. Like, we're saying this is just a really weird and complicated and difficult time for many people living and working in America. And I think that the juxtaposition of sports, and especially women's sports, exploding, being up against so many people's rights being stripped and taken away is like a jarring thing to grapple with. We can't just go out and like be all pumped up when all of these horrible things are happening. So it's just not that simple of purely celebrating, despite wanting to, focus on what is so great about the women's sports space and the way that space is growing and providing a safe place for all of our fans, all of our community, and hopefully our players.
Yeah, I think that is like such a great point, is obviously that we have so much further to go. We keep talking about this in the women's game, but I do think that being able to focus on, while we're trying to change all these things and navigate like an interesting space, focusing on like women's sports bars. Like here in Seattle, we have Rough and Tumble. It's a place that like people feel so included, like these inclusive spaces. We have new sports teams coming out, like the PWHL, Pro Volleyball Federations. Like there's so much women's sports that's like booming.
Yeah.
And I think that like focusing on that and like feeling included in that, and people have a space where they can be themselves, I think is like where we need to focus a lot of our energy. And like, how can we continue to push inclusive spaces for communities that don't necessarily feel included in like the larger world.
Yeah.
And that's what sports does to you.
Exactly. I agree. I think that sports, and even a community like this, I mean, I know that we are a media vertical about women's soccer, but this is a community that we want to feel like a safe space for our listeners who feel like our friends. We want this to be a fun space to enjoy the game. So we would love to hear what you all are thinking and feeling right now. You can send us an email anytime at womensgamemib@menandblazers.com. We're all in this together. It's definitely a difficult time out here, but we're so glad that we have each other, that you're all here listening. We do need to take one more quick break, but when we get back, we're talking Formula One, Lynn. Welcome back to Good Vibes FC. Now it's time for our Women's Game weekly updates, where we cover all the other news you need to know. This past week featured the third set of matches in the Nations League group stage. There were a bunch of exciting games, which makes it extra frustrating that this tournament is so hard to watch from the US. Lynn, I was like trying to watch some of these games, and I guess like unless you're going on some illegal YouTube stream, which are very unreliable at times, like I guess we just can't watch.
That's like, it's so disappointing. It's like when you Google something and you're like, how do you watch this? And it takes you to a YouTube link, and then you click on that YouTube link, and then there's a commentator, and then you go out and you're like, I need a VPN. It's frustrating.
And you also, I bet you would need like streaming, what are they called? Streaming subscriptions to like streaming services in other countries and a VPN. I just don't really know. But if anybody out there actually knows how to watch these games, let me know. I do want to share some of the headlines. Just a reminder that only the top team in each group goes into the next phase of the tournament. So Spain beat Portugal 4-2, helping Spain move into second place in their group. But if they want to move on, they'll need to catch up to England. The Lionesses were without Chloe Kelly, and Alessia Russo had to leave the field with an ankle injury, but they still managed a 5-0 win over Belgium that cemented their place at the top of their group. France remains undefeated in this tournament, and Germany and the Netherlands are tied on points in their group, but Germany's on top with a big goal differential. And then Sweden had a buzzy win over Italy after coming from behind to win in stoppage time with PK. There are more games this week. Again, we just wish we had a solid way to watch them. It will be at least much easier to find the FA Cup semifinals, which will take place on Saturday and Sunday. First up, Liverpool will take on Chelsea. Liverpool have been upsetting bigger teams like Man United and Arsenal, who they beat to get to this semifinal. But do they have what it takes to topple Chelsea? I don't know. The Blues still look untouchable to me. But if anyone can shake things up, it could be Liverpool. And then Sunday, we'll serve up a Manchester derby of sorts, with Man City taking on Man United, who won the tournament last year. This should be a really fun, competitive match. Man United have certainly looked more consistent this year, but Man City's Viv Miedema and Mary Fowler have been fierce, so this is a game to watch for sure. Also worth noting, if Man City and Chelsea both win their games, we could see a rematch of last month's series of rematches between Man City and Chelsea, also of the League Cup final, which Chelsea narrowly won. In more international news, the 2028 Olympics are in LA and are set to feature the same number of women's football teams as the men's tournament. Currently, the women's tournament features 12 teams, while the men's features 16. This proposal was brought by FIFA to the International Olympic Committee and looks set to be successful, making it another major step towards gender equality at the Olympics. Isn't that good news, Lynn?
That's amazing news.
I know. I'm kind of like hearing crickets because I'm like, it wasn't already equal.
I know.
Like,
I don't know
what?
if I knew that either. What? It's 2025. What?
I know. It's just like one thing after another. I'm like, all right, it's good.
I'm interested to see how this like changed the calendar a little bit. Not the calendar, the game schedule.
Would that mean there'd be one extra game?
Yeah.
Or no, at the Olympics, third place goes through.
So it would be the same amount of games.
So I bet it would just be a straight up 4 teams of 4, groups of 4, and the top 2 teams all go through. Yeah. So it would actually make it a little bit more straightforward. So yeah, high time, IOC, to figure that one out. The NWSL is back next weekend. We've got a full slate of NWSL matches. Lynn, the Reign are taking on a very formidable Orlando Pride on Saturday night. How are you feeling about the matchup?
I'm excited. I think that don't count us out, girls.
I'm not.
I think it's going to be a tough game. I think that obviously they have an amazing team. Orlando looks like they have picked up right where they left off last season. But I think that we are an exciting team as well, and it's just going to be exciting. And I've said exciting 17 times now, but I do think it's going to be
exciting. Everybody,
it's going to be a great matchup, and I am looking forward to hopefully cross my fingers out there.
Oh, good. Well, we will be looking for your navy blue leg sleeve. I will really hope that we'll see it.
Me too. We'll see.
Well, I'm also looking forward to Kansas City at San Diego. The Wave put up a fight against unbeaten Orlando a few weeks ago, and they look to be in great form. So I'm excited to see if they can stop Temwa's scoring streak. Temwa Schwinga for Kansas City has 3 goals in 3 games. And then the Courage are taking on Gotham on Sunday. And I'm looking forward to that one because it's just a matchup of a lot of my friends. So I hope everybody has a good time out there.
Friends show off. That's the Friendlies game.
That's the Friendlies game of the week. Okay, also, our live show in Seattle is next week, Lynn. Can you believe it?
I feel like that really snuck up on us. It's coming so quickly.
It sure did sneak up on us. We're so excited to see you all at Victory Hall next Wednesday, the 16th of April. I was just about to say the Ides of April, but it's the Ides of March.
What does that mean? I've never heard that saying before.
Yes, you have. It's from Julius Caesar. It's when Brutus kills Caesar in the Ides of March, which means around the 15th.
What movie is that from?
Mean Girls.
Yeah. That's
Duh. Okay, well, hang on. Is this that Lynn is living under a rock and doesn't know what the Ides of March is? Just saying.
I've literally never heard that before. Sorry, not all of us can be English majors.
All right. For those of you, back to the live show. For those of you who can't be there live with us in person, don't worry. We're also going to release the episode on YouTube. I'm literally so excited to come to Seattle. Lynn, am I going to sleep over your home?
I hope so. Look, I got a new futon couch thing. Right there.
Do you think that I'm going to also love it?
I do. I think it's going to be a little bit more bed-esque. Hopefully.
So that would be where I would sleep.
Yeah. It's not ready yet.
But it doesn't look ready. No, I'm just kidding.
There's boxes over here. It's not ready yet, but it's going to get there.
All right. Well, I'm very excited either way. Let's go over to the inbox. We got an email from Avery that asks, "Hi, Sam, Lynn, and Becky. On a recent episode of Good Vibes, both Lynn and Becky have mentioned that they watch Formula One, and I'm a big women's soccer and F1 fan too. My question to all of you is, do you think you would be a good race car driver? Why or why not? And are there any other extreme sports you'd like to try? P.S. I'm from Boston and drive through Hanson all the time on the way to the Cape. Thank you, Avery."
Oh my gosh, Avery. I actually do. I think I could do this.
I think you'd be a better race car driver than me.
I would agree with that statement. I don't know if I would be an amazing race car driver in the world of race car drivers because they're going so fast.
They're going so fast. I like to go slow.
You like to go slow.
I like to go slow.
That's why you give yourself so much time to get everywhere.
Oh, yeah. You need 45 minutes to get anywhere, no matter how close or far away it is.
It's 5 minutes.
Well, not no matter how far away it is. Obviously, it's possible that you would need more than 45 minutes. In fact, it's likely. But 45 minutes is the minimum for me.
No, not me. I'm getting there right on time. I'm on right on time kind of gal.
I hate that about you. Are there any other extreme sports that you'd like to try? I'm kind of considering camping as an extreme sport right now. And I know it's not even really a sport. I just I'm just considering camping and I just wanted to bring that up.
Have you ever camped before?
As a child.
I don't see you camping. I see you glamping.
I know. I'm just trying to get back in touch with nature.
Dude, come see the cherry blossoms over here. You live in nature. What are you talking about?
I know. That's why I'm like, Mother Earth is calling me.
You've been swimming, you garden.
I swim in a pool. It's not nature yet until
Why don't you get out into the lake then? You're about to swim across a lake.
Still, I'm going to swim in the lake soon, but it's still really cold here.
What are you going to do when you swim across Tahoe?
I'm going to practice swimming in the lake, Lynn, when it warms up a little bit.
Yeah, Tahoe's going to be cold, Sam. Get out there.
Lynn, it's not going to be 30 degrees.
Put a wetsuit on.
Do people know that I'm doing that I'm swimming across Tahoe with Kelly O'Hara?
I don't know. I thought you posted a picture about it or something.
I think they do now. Kelly. But I am. Me and Kelly O'Hara and 4 of Kelly's friends are doing a swim relay race across the width of Lake Tahoe in July. And so I'm training for it.
And I'm going to hopefully go watch.
And Lynn's going to hopefully come watch. And my friend Rosie White might also come watch.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, that feels like more of an extreme sport.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Open water swimming.
Than camping.
Yeah. Anyways, Avery, great question.
No, I like my life. So
yeah,
I'm more of like feet on the earth type of person.
Feet on the earth, connected with nature, grounding.
Yes, I'll just do grounding.
I'll just do grounding. That's my extreme sport. All right, Avery, thank you so much for writing in. This was so much fun, and we've revealed so much about ourselves. Don't forget, everybody, you can send us your own questions. We're really out here just looking for conversation starters, you know, for the gals.
Yeah, you can send a question. We might not answer it, and we might talk about something else, but...
Exactly. But send it at womensgamemib@menandblazers.com. That's the email address. Lynn, we're narrowing down the end of this show, nearing the very, very end. What are you sick and tired of this week? Anything?
Yeah, a lot of things. But the one I'm going to talk about this week is like feeding ourselves for every meal. Like, I was just thinking about it. Like I said, me and Marley went to the cherry blossoms at the University of Washington. And when we were stuck in traffic, I was just looking at all the students, thinking about, I wonder how they feel. Not that they don't have a care in the world, but like, their meal time. Like, you just go to the caf.
To be a college student with no responsibilities again.
I know. You just, like, go to the caf and you're like, okay, what am I going to eat here? And you pick up something. Like, right now, I'm like, what am I going to have for lunch? What am I going to have for dinner? We need to go to the grocery store. And you have to do that every day.
And then you have to cook it. And then you have to clean it.
I know. Every single day. I think about it all the time. I'm like, I just ate. I have to do it again.
I know. But, I mean... We are very blessed to have access to an abundance of food.
Oh, yeah. This is obviously like a privileged person sick and tired. But I'm still sick and tired.
Yeah. This was a first world problems sick and tired for sure. But I don't judge. I don't judge what you're sick and tired of.
Well, it sounds like you're a little sick and tired of it too.
You know the expression death, taxes, laundry? Yeah. Is that the expression?
Yeah.
Death and taxes, and then people put in laundry to be funny, I guess. It's also dishes. Like, the dishes are endless.
Endless. I'm not allowed to do laundry anymore. Marley does the laundry because somehow I've stained everything.
Hang on. I actually have to talk about this really quickly. All of my whites are, like, not white anymore. And my sister was like, yeah, Sam, you have to, like, bleach them. And, like, I don't separate my laundry. So, like, now I'm not complaining about this. I'm just saying I haven't been separating my laundry. And now I think that I have to start because all my whites are, like, gray.
I do think you have to separate your laundry. I do that. But for some reason...
You do?
Yeah.
I just think that when I went to college, like, all I could do was one load. So I would just do it all. And then I just, like, never adjusted away from that.
Yeah, that's it. Like, yeah, I feel that. I did that in college, but now I like my clothes, so I want them to look nice. But the thing is for some reason I shrink all the clothes and stain them in the laundry. Like, I'm like, we don't even have bleach. How did I get this white mark on your blue shirt?
Don't know.
I don't know. So I've been demoted from the laundry. Marley does the laundry, and it's very kind of him.
I wonder how bad I would have to mess up our laundry for Pat to take it over. And I'm willing to try.
All of his things
because
are like this small.
Pat like cares about his clothes even less than me.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah. All right, we have to go. Okay. Can we leave everybody with a good vibe, Lynn?
Yes. Do you want to start?
I made pumpkin bread the other day.
And how was it?
It was so good. You know what I had to do? We only had like whole cloves and whole nutmeg, so I had to grind them up in a food processor, but I think it like really added an incredible spiced layer to the bread.
Layers of flavor.
Layers
Who says
of flavor.
that?
Pat.
Yeah, he does.
You know what he also always says? Color is flavor. And it means like you got to get some color on that chicken, or else it's just like bland white meat.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your good vibe? Mine's pumpkin bread with fresh spices.
Again, I've talked about this 17 times in the show, but yesterday going to the cherry blossoms and then coming home.
Are you serious?
It's a once a year experience, Sam. And they're from Japan.
All right.
And I went there and I had a great time. And then I walked around the campus and I saw Mount Rainier in all of her glory, was just looking at me. And then I came home and we were able to walk and get tacos and margaritas.
Oh.
Could you have a better afternoon? I don't think so.
No. You also sound like you're really connecting with nature out there in Seattle. Let's go camping next week.
It's raining.
Okay. All right, everybody. We're going to let you all go. It was a little bit of a convoluted end there. But please make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. And don't forget, if you're listening to this on audio, but you miss seeing our cute little faces, go ahead and watch on YouTube next time. You should also please follow along with us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Women's Game MIB. And you can subscribe to our newsletter at the link tree in our social media bios. The newsletter is so great. It's delivered to your inbox every Tuesday with everything you need to know from all around the world of women's soccer. And finally, don't forget to tune in to TWG Live on YouTube tomorrow night after the U.S. Women's National Team game. The game against Brazil starts at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and we'll be live right at the final whistle with Angel City defender Allie Riley. Plus, if you missed my interview with Yasmin Ryan last week, it was awesome, so definitely check that out. And coming up on Thursday of this week, we'll have another episode of Friendlies dropping with U.S. Women's National Team attacker Jaden Shaw. All right, everybody, that is all from me. Goodbye.
I'm Lynn Biondolo.
And I'm Sam Mewis.
And I love you.
And I love you.
How do the kids do it? There. Oh my gosh, Aura Ring Sisters.
Oh my God, I can't do it. Is that even right?
I don't know. Just let's be millennials. Bye.
Bye.